Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Tea with Tash, and today we're talking about 3 ways to stay in a good mood. Like hold that energy when you're feeling charged. One of my good friends asked me how to do this, and I was like, hold on a second, I need to do a video about this because it's really, it happens all the time, and especially as moms, we're so busy that we need to be able to like get back to that space and get back to that feeling as fast as possible. So my name's Tasha. If I haven't met you yet, I help busy moms create a calm life that they love by establishing self-care, cleansing their environment, and increasing productivity. So I've got a freebie for you, so stick around until the end. But let's get started with staying in a good mood and bottling up that energy or that feeling. So I've got 3 tips for you. So my first one is journaling. And I just want to go back to what you might think journaling might be. So, you know, we've got a little diary when we were kids, and I'm probably totally dating myself, but it has like a little golden locket on it, and the key works with like the same as every other diary in the world. And we write our feelings in there. We pour our little hearts out and hope that no one reads it. So I want you to switch your mindset about journaling in that you are creating gold. You are not letting life testing you and doing an exam on you over and over and over and failing, so to speak, so that they present you with this exam again and you haven't learnt your lesson. So I want you to look at journaling as you are creating a book, like you are being an author of all the lessons of your life. So I can share some separate journaling tips in a separate video, but essentially what I want you to do for journaling is to first care about your journal, like care about your diary, whatever you want to call it. Let's go with journal, it's more adult-like. And I don't care how much you spend on it, whatever you can in terms of your budget. The reason why I say that is because you're filling it with gold. Like, don't feel guilty for having a book that feels beautiful, that just feels like it gives you energy, and it's going to be really impactful later on. So get your journal, and the way that I want you to look at your journal, like I've said before, is going to be like a reference book of all your lessons. So my first tip is that in the back you can have a bit of a reference list. So like you would write a certain challenge or a certain word and the page that it's on. So I can link to that in a little second in terms of how that is important. In the beginning of the book, I want you to write the time, the day, and where you are when you do an entry. The reason for this is because there's sometimes going to start to be a pattern. If you are pouring your heart out and you're realizing that it's like 8 o'clock on a Wednesday night, maybe you realize that something really shitty happens every Wednesday at work, and you need to change your mindset about that because it's impacting how you're triggered with your kids, how you're triggered with your partner, and there's a pattern there. So this is all about growth and gaining sustainability in our lives to be the persons that we want to be. So your journal is going to become that reference book. So it's going to be labeled with the time, the day, and the place of an entry. And now it doesn't have to be an entry every single time that's like venting, pouring your heart out. The reason why I wanted to talk about how to stay in a good mood and how to bottle up that energy is because you can talk about a moment where you're like super, super fired up, where you've, yeah, my dog's barking, where you've gone to an event and you've met amazing people and you leave and you're like, everything is so clear, like, I feel like I've met some new friends. I feel like I'm not alone. I feel like I know what to do next. I feel like what's going on at home is not so bad. You know, I feel like I'm gaining clarity on what I've learned for the past 5 years. I feel like I'm moving ahead. All of those positive thoughts, you want to channel into that. So what I would say is that, sorry, he's distracting me a little. Must be someone at the door. So what I would say is that your journal becomes that book of knowledge. So you're going to have a challenge listed at the top or an event. So again, it doesn't have to be a nagging event or, you know, sharing your feelings, pouring your heart out, being real. It can just be a beautiful, positive moment as well. And then what have you learned from that? So if it's something positive, let's just go for simple terms, something positive, then you're going to write what the lesson was from that. And if it's something that's a bit of a challenge, then you're going to write the solution to that. And also maybe what you learned. So here's what's going to happen. When you go to, I don't know, you go to work, okay? Let's take that example. And someone says something that 3 weeks ago had like a 2-page entry in your journal, but you know how to deal with that now because maybe you started reading a book about, you know, responding as a leader or something like that. So you've got a solution. Life is all about, yes, of course, making mistakes and learning, but there's no sense like it's throwing us the same exam over and over. And that might not be the best word, but it's throwing us the same scenario so that we can realize like, hey, I've learned something from this, or hey, I'm not quite there yet. And that's also okay. You are building a log. So that's how I want you to see journaling. That's my step 1 in terms of knowing how to bottle things up, because you can go back to that feeling whenever you want. You know, you can channel by reading that, or you can channel all of the bright spots, I like to call them, like, hold on, you know, I feel like really kind of lonely in my postpartum period, but hey, look at this, like, look at all of these entries where I've gone to all these events, met all these amazing people, and here's what I learned. I am not alone. So I want you to consider that as an option. The second thing is going to be taking action with people. So directly after something happens, good or bad, just using those words for, like, to be simple, you're going to, I want you to think of the quote that you're the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. And I cannot express how I believe that that is so insanely true. And I just wanted to talk about how I traveled to Australia. I've traveled a little bit all over the world, and I've always connected with different people in amazing ways, but then you leave and you're home and you might feel a little bit alone, or lonely, I should say, but you're never alone. You can access these people in different ways with the kind of world that we have today. And yes, you might say being physical is not the same as, you know, I mean, seeing them online is not the same as in person. I totally agree. But you can't be in that victim mindset of, I'm not near the people that are impacting my life the most on a daily basis, because you will get in a not great place. So you want to stay there. Sorry. You want to be able to take action with those people right away. Like, surround yourself with those people. So if you're at an event, and this goes, again, good or bad, if something great has happened, take action right away. Connect with someone from that event. Put them in your planner in terms of hanging out with them, because you've got that date set, you've got consistency, and you've got pattern in your life to be around the people that are doing things that you want to do. And if something bad happens, then that's even easier. Don't take action with those people. Give yourself that strength to say no. And it might be a little bit uncomfortable, but I always say adversity brings advancement. So just be okay. The next time they say something, you know what? This would be in your head, your own self-talk. Last time I hung out with this person, I really didn't feel great. I came home, I was a bit triggered. Regardless if it's something that, you know, might be feeding your ego a little bit, if you're at that point of your life where it's just not great for you, have the power to recognize that. Take action either way, with people or without people. And the third tip that I would say is take action with things. So just going back to when I would travel places, or when you've had great loves in your life or great friendships, and there's a great song that comes on. Like, I'm just thinking right now when I was at this amazing leadership event when I was health coaching in Australia, and the song came on when my friend stepped on stage. Every single time I listen to that song, I can close my eyes and be right back there, feeling the people that are beside me, focusing on health, focusing on changing their lives, focusing on mentorship and leadership. And I know that that expands my vision, and it can never go back to its original size. I do not feel alone in that moment. So connect to things. You might not be a song person. It might be a memorable piece of something. It might be that you went to an event and you grabbed a pamphlet or a business card, and you start building your vision board. You might be very visual in terms of using your phone that way, like more from a more technical perspective. So connecting with objects would be my third one, and putting that in your presence on a daily basis. So simple terms, if those 3 don't work for you, do more of the things that you love, say yes, and just do less of the things that you don't and say no. So I think that with those 3 tips, you can really channel into bottling a feeling that has been amazing after a certain event, or holding on to that lesson, and by planning something in with journaling or an action with a person or an action with a thing, then you can really start to feel that you're not alone and that you're creating consistency in your life to be around things, people, and lessons that are helping you directly in the direction of how you want to feel in your life. So that's all I would say for the 3 top things in terms of self-care. And if you want to make sure that you're not doing any other mistakes in terms of self-care and putting your energy in the wrong spots, I've got a freebie for you that I'm gonna link to below, so you can go and get that 10 self-care mistakes that most moms make. So get your hands on that, and if you like more videos like if you would like to hear more videos like this one, please subscribe. And I would love to hear which method, 1, 2, or 3, that you believe would help you the most. So go ahead and comment on that, and I would love to hear from you once you've put that into practice. Bye for now.